All right, and we are live with a brand new season for 2021 on Lifted Podcast Show. And tonight, I'm ecstatic to announce our very first episode for 2021 with an incredibly inspirational fitness role model and male icon whom I've been following for a number of years and have been inspired by in business, in fitness, in coaching, and in performance. My special guest is a busy dad of 3 girls with a 4th on the way. You really are busy, Travis. An ex-pro athlete that was named the 7th fittest masters athlete in the age group of 35 to 39 at the 2018 CrossFit Games. Travis Stetzel, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is pretty awesome to dive into talking about how to dominate your 2021 fitness goals. Travis is also the owner of the Forged Athlete Gym in Omaha, Nebraska, and the creator of the Forged Father Project. Through the Forged Father Project, Travis has created a method through which he helps busy dads destroy the dad bod in order to maximize their roles as men, leaders, fathers, husbands, producers, and athletes. Thank you again for accepting the invitation, Travis, and joining me on my show tonight. Why don't you start off by just telling us a little bit about your story, your background with fitness, with sports, with professional athleticism and competitive sports?
Absolutely. That was quite the introduction. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me on the show and just, talking strength, talking fitness, talking dominating life, right? So, so where to begin? I guess, when I was a young boy, my dad got me into training at a very, young age for wrestling. That was like one of my main sports growing up was wrestling. And so my dad got me into doing push-ups and, doing sprints and pull-ups. We had a little clothesline hanger in the backyard, which I would just go out there all the time, do pull-ups, and it wasn't anything to me, just training and working out was just a part of life, I guess. And that really taught me the lesson of hard work, and how if there's something that you want to get, you got to go out and earn it. So you do that through hard work. And I just used that through my sports career in high school. And so wrestled, football, baseball. I ended up playing baseball and football in college, and gave up baseball to continue to pursue football. Played a little bit of professional football after that. And in that time, that's really where I started to dig into like the strength and conditioning world, because I was trying to build myself into a better athlete to, move on to the next level. So I was researching, buying products, buying books, buying DVDs, going to workshops on sports performance, like how to get faster, how to jump higher, how to, just be more explosive. And when I came to the realization that, hey, I'm probably not going to be playing in the NFL, I didn't have the size. I certainly had the speed and the power. I just, 5'7" white dude, not many teams looking for that. So when I hung it up, it was an easy decision at that point. It was just, hey, I want to become a coach. So started my career out, in a big box gym. Did about a year and a half there, training a lot of different people. But my heart was in training athletes. And so that's when I broke away. I created the Forge Athlete Gym and just started training athletes of all sorts. Really kind of carved out a niche training wrestlers to start, because I loved their mindset when they came in. They just come in and it was just hard work, right? So built my gym. Through that, just continued to train myself. And there was a period where I guess I kind of lost that fire to train after hanging up the cleats, so to speak. Just didn't have that leverage and pressure to continue to push myself as hard. And so I was kind of lost for a little while. I did a bodybuilding show back in 2006, and I did the show, and I actually won the show. I got second place for the overall, which this is a whole separate story. The guy that ended up beating me, turned out he was dirty. His drug results came back, and so they called me up like 2 weeks after the show and said, hey, you actually won the overall. Do you want us to send you the trophy? And I was like, that's over with, right? So, but either way, I did a bodybuilding show just to do something to compete in again. It was a good experience, but it just didn't give me that same feeling of being out on the football field or competing in an actual sport. Which I'm not saying bodybuilding isn't an actual sport. It certainly is. It takes a lot of time and dedication. It just didn't give me that feeling that I used to get when I was competing in football or wrestling or whatever. And so
Right,
just went through.
There's a certain feeling that comes with performance sports. I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
I compete in kettlebell sport, and there's always that feeling of it's a different sensation when you're competing performance wise rather than physique and posing.
Yep. So I did that show, and I was actually thinking about doing another show, and I was going to do like a show if I placed high enough, I would earn a pro card and then start doing pro shows or whatever. And I was just really kind of losing my passion for training. I didn't like the way I was training in regards to like bodybuilding. It was just kind of different. I finally just gave it up. I said, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to start training like an athlete again. And right around that time, one of my buddies, he kind of reached out to me and he's like, hey man, have you heard about this CrossFit stuff? I was like, I've seen it. At first, I was like, yeah, it looks stupid. People are getting injured, whatever. He's like, no, dude, you should check it out. They're having this worldwide open. And this was back in 2011. He's like, dude, I bet you can win this thing. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And so I did it. I did the open that year. I qualified for regionals. And I remember I qualified and I was like, nah, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to pay for a plane ticket and hotel, go to Chicago. It was in Chicago. And I remember it was like the deadline to sign up and accept my invitation to go. And on a whim, I just decided to do it. And I'm so happy that I did, because when I got there and did that first event, I was hooked. I was like, I want to make it to the games. So that first year, I believe I got 7th place in regionals. You had to get in the top 5, I believe back then. Maybe it was just the top 3, 5 or 3, either way. I was destined. I was like, I'm going to make it to the CrossFit Games. So started in 2011, like that was my passion again. My fire was relit. I was like, all right, I'm going to do everything I can to try to get myself to the games. And I started digging in deeper, figuring out how to train better for CrossFit instead of just doing straight up CrossFit. I was like, okay, let's take strength and conditioning, blend it with the variety of CrossFit, and kind of came up with my own system. Just kept putting in the work, made regionals a couple more years, made regionals as a team athlete. And then I remember when I turned 35, I was like, shit, here's my chance. And at that point, I had 2 kids, another one on the way. And I remember having that conversation with my wife and saying, hey, I'm going to give this a go. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of, extra hours at the gym if I make it. I got the go ahead from her. And that year I made it, 2018. It was kind of just like a huge athletic goal achieved for me. And, to be able to get 7th place at the games out of, thousands and thousands and thousands of, athletes that try to get there, it was pretty special. But after that, it really turned more towards, all right, I put in my time, my effort, competing. Maybe I'll get there in a couple more years when I turn 40. But it's like family time now. So that's kind of when, the transition happened before that, but that's when it really took over, okay, I can stay as an athlete, but I need to focus in on being a dad and a husband and a producer a little bit more. So
yeah. That's incredible. I mean, and it's so perfectly fit with, the title of this episode, Dominating Your Goals, because that was a massive goal that you crushed right there. Travis, I'm interested. I know I've got some male followers, and not just in Jordan, but across the Middle East region. And this is a huge opportunity to have you on here. And let's talk a little bit about the Forged Father project. Can you tell us a little bit about that project and how you ended up focusing on that and creating that specifically for the busy dad?
Yeah, absolutely. So I created this because a lot of the guys that I was working with, before any of this came about, it turns out they were family guys too. They were dads, and conversations were getting sparked up. Like, hey, I want to keep my athlete role up, but I'm kind of dropping the ball as a dad and a husband and a producer. And it's like, how can we juggle these 4 roles? So the 4 roles being a dad, a husband, a producer, and then an athlete. And so I know for me coming up, being an athlete was just a part of my identity. Like that's who I saw myself as, because I've always been an athlete. And so to keep that and maintain that athlete role, it's like my edge, right? And I mentioned how there was a period of time where I really lost the passion to train and just push myself, and I just kind of felt lost because I didn't have anything to compete in. And in fact, I actually fell out of shape. Like there's a testimonial like before and after of my own, like, after college, after football, I was like chunky and just out of shape. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror at that point in time. I was just like, wow, like, what are you doing, dude? Like you lost that edge. And that was when kind of I flipped the switch inside of me and said, you know what, I'm never going to lose my edge. Like I'm always going to keep myself in top physical condition, because that's what makes me feel better. That's what helps me show up better for everybody else. So, but yeah, so going into, I guess where the Forged Father came about, it was 8 months after my first daughter was born. So here I am running a gym. I got my online business. I got hundreds of clients that I'm coaching online. I'm putting my heart and soul into that stuff. So my mind after my first daughter was born was, okay, I got to be the producer for my wife and my daughter. I want them to have the best life possible. I want them to have everything. I want them to have just complete freedom. And so my head just went all in on the business. So being a producer, maintaining my athlete role. However, my dad and husband role was slipping bad. And it wasn't until, my wife had a conversation with me one night, which kind of just knocked me upside the head, like kind of put things into perspective a little bit, how much I was just, putting that off to the side. And the thing that she said that really like got me good, she was like, I feel second best over everything else. Like, your business is number one. I was like, wow, that like hurt hard, because I was doing everything for them, but I got lost in the mix and completely forgot why I was doing it. So for my daughter, like the first 8 months, like I was there, but I was missing out on a lot of things too, And so when my wife said that, I was like, I can't keep going on like this. Like, I don't want to lose my wife and my daughter and, lose the family side. And so that's really when I went to the drawing board, and I started to put together the Forged Father, because I was like, it's much more than just exercise and nutrition. It's these other parts. It's how to balance out life as a busy dad, because again, these 4 roles, if you want to be a good dad, good husband, good producer, a good athlete, like it does take structure. It takes a different, type of lifestyle. And when you start to build that structure, that's when things start to really come together. And I kind of made the connection with a lot of the guys that I was working with. I was like, hey, he's a dad. This guy's a dad. This guy's a dad. They're all, busy producers, and things are getting shook up for them as well. It's like, they might be good as a dad, husband, and a producer, but they're letting the athlete role really slip.
Yeah.
And so, obviously helping them build that up. I already know they're going to show up better as a dad, better as a husband, and way better as a producer, because they have more energy. They have better health. They can focus. They just got that discipline. And I know you probably get this, and you understand this very, very well in training and being a coach, the discipline that it takes to be consistent with your health and fitness, and just, having that, it bleeds into other things in your life.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. I mean, you saying that being an athlete is just part of your identity, and it's the same for me. Like, I know that when I train and when I've got a goal that I'm working towards, it helps me show up more disciplined in everything else that I do, in my relationship with, with my family and with my friends, with the people that I care about, even with my business. And I love that you've taken your experience, and created a system that can help other men. And this is so inspirational, and it's so nice to see, so refreshing to see more and more, men's leadership stuff happening, men's empowerment. Like that living in harmony as with, with all of and I have this conversation a lot, with the whole postmodern feminism movement and stuff. There's so much focus on women's empowerment, women, women's this, women's that. And it's like, well, how can leaders like yourself show up in different sectors and industries to better create harmony, where we can all live and show up for each other more fully, more productively, more effectively, and better, and fitness and nutrition are one part of that puzzle. It's all these other pieces that come together. I love the work that you do. Like I said, I've been following you. I've done a lot of your online programs. You run an incredible online business. How do you balance out being online and running an actual brick and mortar gym?
First thing I would say is my team. I have an amazing team of coaches that help keep things together with the gym. For many, 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 many years, for probably way too long, I was a one-man show, right? Mm-hmm. Well, when we first started the gym, it was me and my good buddy Joe Cheezick, who's one of my best friends. He was the best man in my wedding. We originally created the Forged Athlete Gym. We ran that together for a couple of years, and then he went his separate ways. He's actually from Wyoming, so he moved back out to Wyoming. He needed the mountains, and so I continued to build the Forged Athlete. And I did for a very long time, just me. So I was running classes, everything, operations, and then I was doing online coaching on in addition to that. And so it was like 50-50, like trying to build the gym, trying to coach all my clients online. And it wasn't until I finally hired a coach, and a coach had to tell me, like, dude, you need to build a team. And so that's when I started to piece together a team. I've had a lot of great coaches over the years come in and help me run the Forged Athlete Gym, which in turn helped me build the online business. And where we are now, I got a couple of great coaches in my gym that helped me run that. And then, obviously I got a couple of great coaches who are actually clients for a very long time inside the Forge Father, who are now coaches inside the Forge Father. So, you know, more success is always built upon a solid team. Like, and that's something that I had to learn the hard way over years is just, you know, I think we all kind of struggle with it. You know, oh, I can do it all. I can do it all. I don't need any help. And so that's a huge piece of it. And then it's just having an actual structure, a system that's just replicated day in, day out. And that's where that word discipline comes in again. It's just like, okay, if you're supposed to wake up at this certain time, you need to, because everything else is structured during the day. Yeah. You know, you got family time, you got time for clients. Oh, you got a little bit of time for yourself, but you better not skip that window, because, you know, now things are going to start, you know, crashing down because you weren't disciplined in that area. So, yeah.
And I just want to take a moment and praise the online business that you run as well, because like pre-COVID-19, you were already doing an incredible job online. You've got such a successful online business. And so for people like you that have already had that must have been a lifesaver throughout this whole craze of this pandemic.
It certainly was. I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for the online community that I built, COVID might have wiped me out. Because it was rough in the gym. I mean, people having to leave for, you know, obvious reasons, you know, financial reasons, like everybody was kind of in that situation. So yeah, having that solid structure online really, you know, helped get through that. But another thing that I thought was, and I always try to see things for what it is and get the positive out of it, right? I know a lot of people went through COVID and they're just like, COVID this, COVID that, I can't do this, I can't do that. Like, you know, poor me. You do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, you got to attack. You got to find, you know, the gap. Like, what can I do in this situation to make it better? And so what I found is, and I don't know if you get the same thing, but it's always been like online and in gym has been separate, where it actually needs to be together. Because what I've discovered over time, and why I guess like the online community is so much stronger, is just there's a whole nother level of accountability with that. Because with the guys online, I'm not seeing them in person every single day or a couple times a week or whatever, but there's more touch points. Like, I'm checking in with them constantly, sending messages back and forth. Whereas folks in my gym, I might see them a couple times a week. And I feel like there's like a false sense of security with that, thinking, oh, I'm coming in 3 times a week, getting these hard ass workouts in, like I'm doing great. What are you doing outside of that? Right. And so what COVID really did was, because when the gym shut down, like, yeah, we had the systems in place to run online training and all that stuff. I've been doing that for years. It's easy. But what was missing at that point for a lot of people was the accountability side. And so it's like, okay, the gym shut down. What are you going to do? Most people don't have that discipline to hit those workouts on their own at home. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, all right, this is what we need to put in place to make sure that you do stay accountable outside of the gym. Right. And so for me, the positive that I got out of it, like my team and I, we have been building up a whole new accountability system for people in the gym. Instead of just coming in the gym and being around us, it's like, you're going to get the same as if you were out of the gym, like a remote client. Right. And so I thought that was like the biggest thing that I took away from it, that I needed to up my game with, was just increase the amount of accountability that my people in the gym had. So I thought that was interesting how it's been rolling out. And we're actually going to be doing something pretty big starting in February in the gym. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. For me, I mean, with COVID-19, my business partner and I, we had a brick and mortar gym here. We shut it down entirely after COVID-19. And so me moving the business online is actually new. You know, I've just recently moved the business online. It was last year. And so now everything that I'm running is online. And so it's always interesting and such a huge learning curve to see like people like yourself that are running such a successful business online. Like, what are the success factors that have made your online business so successful for you?
For me, it's just, it starts with the community. Number one, having a strong community. So it's just not workouts. It's just not diets. Let's be real. You can go get diets and workouts off of Google right now for free. Mm-hmm. But why do they not work? They don't work because people don't have the accountability. They don't have that camaraderie that's needed when they're in the gym. So it's easy for people to keep coming and showing up to a gym because they know people are going to be there that know their name. It's like that show, you know, Cheers. Like, everybody wants to go where they know your name, right? So it's very similar. And so what I'm super, super blessed and grateful to have, like within the Forge Father, we have the brotherhood. That's exactly what it is. It's a brotherhood. So, you know, we just had one of our members just had a newborn, like pictures are being posted. Guys are, congratulating him. And that's just like a little tiny thing, but it's a community where you can be real and raw. You show up, I'm this dude, I have these issues, this is what I'm struggling with. And people just, we come together as one and we push through and we rise above as one. Right. And so it's definitely the community aspect, because if a guy is just there for workouts, he's probably not going to be there very long, because he can go find workouts somewhere else. So while the workouts are awesome, I mean, I think that's something that I really pride myself on. I just have this mind that is constantly working, and I'm just coming up with different ways to train that are a little bit different, a little bit outside the box, but also, produce results. Right. So
yeah,
I always have a great way to, make training fun and exciting and very, very effective. So
and super versatile as well. Like there's huge versatility with your programming. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's just, I think a lot of that came from when, I mentioned the transition when I got into CrossFit. I was just like, it's just the amount of research and just looking at how this guy programs and how this guy takes, I'm going to take some of this and blend it with that. And I was always kind of like a human experiment myself. So taking what worked good, what didn't work so well. And a lot of my clients in the gym were experiments as well, without even knowing. But that was the fun part, so.
Awesome. Well, this is all great, because this is like a great segue to get into like dominating your fitness goals. Because like we all know, most people, like you said, will usually start some kind of training program or a diet plan, a few weeks in, they'll fall off the bandwagon and then blame it on the program not working or the diet plan not working. And, and especially with the turn of a new year, and this is why this episode is so perfect. We're still in January. You got the New Year's resolutions, new year, new you. How long do those last? And, so I want to tap into that. Like, what would you say are the key factors because in a lot of the things that you post and talk about is, it's all about people not relying on motivation, but finding the discipline and the commitment to, to overcome thresholds, to push through, to actually get the work done and take action. So you walk us through a process of like how you would help somebody, move from an idea that they have for themselves that they want to achieve to actually achieving that goal and dominating it and continuing with it.
Yeah. I've really been thinking about this a lot deeper over the last couple of months. And a big goal that I set aside for myself this year was to write my book. Like, I got a book that it's laid out. It takes everything that we do inside the Forge Father and just shares experiences that I've had developing and whatnot. I think it really comes down to this. A simple way to look at it is you got to light your fire. You got to light your fire. Like, you got to get your fire lit. We all have the ability to have a fire that burns inside. And this fire is really, it's a desire for something, right? It's a desire to achieve something great. None of us were put on this earth to just skim by, show up, check the boxes, get complacent, right? And with a lot of the dads that I have conversations with that are looking to change, that's exactly what's happened, is they've kind of just settled into life. And hey, they got a wife, they got kids, they got a good job. So with the health and fitness, they start to develop this story that, hey, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. I'll just settle and I'll be complacent with that, right? And when they look in the mirror, it's like they fucking hate it. Apologize for cussing if this is all G-rated.
No, it's not.
I'm surprised that's the first F-bomb that I've dropped. It was like they look in the mirror and they're just like, that ain't who I want to be. I don't even recognize that guy. And so what they'll do is okay, what's the workout plan? What's the diet that I need to be following? I'm motivated to follow it right now. It's like, it's January. Like, let's get on it. New year, new me, like you mentioned, right? And yeah, they'll be motivated. They'll be hyped up. They'll be excited. But that excitement, that motivation, that hype, it all goes away. It goes away for me. But guess what? The fire is still burning. That fire is still burning, and it's because of the desire. And if we can tap into figuring out how to keep that fire lit, how to put logs onto that fire, because the fire is going to go down for everybody. It's like kind of be some burnt coals out here and there, like external factors messing with you. We need to put some gasoline on that and get that fire relit. And so where I start with all my guys is, I call it the MVP, right? The MVP. And so it's basically just getting very, very clear with what the hell it is that you want. Because most guys just go through life. Okay, I want a six pack. Cool. You want to look a certain way. That's surface level, right? We could take another level. It's like, okay, you want to be able to perform certain ability. Okay, you want to do a Spartan race. Okay, cool. That's a little bit better. Now you got to show up for something and compete and perform. It might push you a little bit more, but it ain't deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
Next, health and fitness. I want to be healthier. I got diabetes, or I don't have enough energy to play with my kids after a long day of work. That's going to start to connect a little bit more. That might start to get the fire burning a little bit hotter, especially when you're unmotivated. It's like, think about the health and fitness, the longevity. You want to be around for your kids? Okay, prove it.
Yeah.
Right. The bottom level is, it's really, it comes back to you, right? Like, you are the deepest reason why you should get yourself in shape, keep yourself in shape, so you can show up better for everybody else. And all the bonuses are this: do it for yourself, so you're healthier, you have longevity, you have great, you're not having to struggle thinking about, oh, am I going to have energy, or am I going to have to take these pills or medication? It's not even a worry. You have the confidence in your ability to show up as an athlete.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. And then, hey, the looks are just the icing on the cake, right? So hopefully guys can kind of see how they chase it ass backwards. They just chase the look.
Yeah.
It ain't deep enough. It's not going to keep you fired up, right? And so we think about it like that, and we go back to the MVP, which basically it stands mission, vision, purpose. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mission comes last, but in the middle, it's the vision. It's like thinking about every single piece you want in your life, as a dad, as a husband, as a producer, as an athlete. Like, what does that look like for you? You can track that metrically. It's like, okay, you want to be 12% body fat? Cool. Let's mark that down. That's a metric. You want to be able to lift X amount of weight? Cool. That's what you want. How much money do you want to make on a monthly basis or yearly basis? Right. What do you do for a living? Right? How's the relationship that you have with your wife, your kids? And so you start to think about that, and then you ask yourself, why? Why do you want it? That's the purpose. So when you got that purpose real clear, now you connect it back with the vision. That purpose is going to be what keeps you going. It's going to keep that fire lit. Like, it should be something that's deep, and it, like, you think about it, raises the hair on your neck and your arms, and you're just like, hell yeah, it gets you fired up again. And then the mission is simple. It's just the daily work that we need to do.
Right.
Right? We reverse engineer everything. Yeah.
I think that's the most important link right there. Is, like you said, most people have it ass backwards because they're thinking about summer's coming. I want to look good. I want to look good on the beach. And then that's as far as the thinking goes. But not many people will take the time and spend the energy in actually identifying and getting clear on what's really important. Like, okay, well, you want to look good on the beach. Why is that important for you? What do what's important about looking good for you? And then we start to dig deeper into that why, that purpose. So I love how simply you put it, like the MVP, the mission, the vision, the purpose. Love it. And there's another thing that I was watching a video of yours the other day, and something stuck with me where you were talking about, when you pay attention.
Yep.
So you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I talked about it earlier. It's like, okay, we can get all the information that we want offline right now for free. Mm-hmm. You can go search diets. You can go search, workouts, whatever. It's all out there, and you can do your own research. You can spend the time and the effort and to do that. Anybody can do that. And that's what I did starting off myself, but it took years and years. And so you can take that time that you're never going to get back, looking into free things, gathering up information on your own, all that type of stuff. But let's be real. When something's free, you don't value it. And I'm guilty as charged. Like, I have a number of downloads on my computer. Like, I'm scrolling Facebook or something like that. And for me, I'll see a business resource. It's like, find out how to attract, 50 new clients, with this one simple tactic. It's a free download, so I'll download it. It could be some of the most valuable information in the world, but yet I'll never look at it. I'll never read it because it's free. I'm just like, okay, I just wanted to download that to get it, so I have it in case I need it. It's just like hoarding it, right? I used to do that for workouts too. Like, oh, this guy's giving out this free resource. Maybe I'll pick something from it. I don't open it. Mm-hmm. It's funny because I have free resources out there, like workouts, like sample workouts. We're doing, Force Father, a sample, nutrition thing that gives you the foundational habits that we use. People download it and they stay the same. They don't take action. They don't pay attention because it's free. And so they don't value it. And then I guess what I was talking about the other day is it's like, okay, well, what's the difference between this guy over here and this guy over here? This guy getting free information. This guy over here, he's bought in. He invested into himself. And a lot of people, if they're of a scarcity type mindset, they're living in fear. They think everything is limited, where money is not limited. You can always make money back. You can always make money back. You can't get time back. If there's anything that you have scarcity mindset towards, it's got to be time. Like, stop wasting time. If you want to get these results, here's the secret. Invest into somebody, invest into a coach, invest into a mentor, invest into yourself if you feel you're valuable enough. And guess what? I guarantee that you'll probably start to follow through. Because you'll be paying more attention. It's going to hurt for that transaction. It's going to be like, I don't want to put that money. I could have bought something else, or, whatever. But now you're going to follow through and you're going to start doing the work that you need to do, because money is a motivator. It's going to create leverage and pressure, a whole lot of leverage and pressure. And that's what I've been doing myself for the last number of years. As I continue to invest into a coach. I have 3 coaches right now myself. And I do that because the accountability, but also I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to get better and expand. And so there was, even a period of time, if we go all the way back, like the first mastermind that I joined, I remember how scared shitless I was about joining it. And I remember, I don't want to go over time or anything like that, but just, I'll fast forward. Like, I ended up doing it and it changed my freaking life, right? Like, I don't even know if I'd still be in the fitness industry if I hadn't, went against my fear and just did the fucking thing, right? And so fast forward, like, I remember I was in that mastermind for a couple of years, and then I decided not to re-up after the second year that I was in. I was just like, I kind of got to a point where I was like, all right, I know this. I'm just going to continue to do it. That next year was just like leveled off. I had no leverage, no pressure, nothing like lit underneath my ass to force me to continue to grow. And since then, I've always had coaches, because when I have coaches, I'm paying attention. And, we can have the conversation where, some people see money as evil and some people see money, as I see it as freedom. I see it as a source of just leverage and pressure to force you to fucking grow and get better. You're only going to get better from it. So that's my 2 cents.
I love it. And it always amuses me to see, like, is tying the piece on desire that you were talking about, and lighting your fire up is, when somebody wants to buy something, for example, like the latest iPhone, those things aren't fucking cheap. They're expensive.
They'll make it happen.
They'll make it happen in an instant, right? And it's like, without a thought, it's like, I want it. I want to be the first on the list. I know it's going to cost me a fuckload of money, but I'm going to get it. I have the desire to own that phone. But then when it comes to investing in ourselves, our health and our fitness, which actually allows us to make our, other parts of our lives better, because it's not just nutrition and training, but it's also what's going on up here, like the stories that we're telling ourselves. People hold back, and it always amuses me, where it's like the first question that somebody will ask is, how much? Whereas when they want to go and buy an iPhone, it's the last thing they'll ask, because they know it's going to cost them an arm and a leg, right?
Yeah, I don't care how much it's going to cost.
I just want it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you can get into the whole conversation of status, right? Okay, would you much rather look cool with your iPhone and be up to date with the latest trends, and that's great? Or do you want to continue to sweep the shit under the rug and just not pay attention to your health and fitness and all that energy that you don't have? Like, continue to put that off, and then when it does become a very big concern of yours, just think about how much more expensive is that actually going to be at that point.
Right. 100%.
So yeah, I totally get it. And again, that's why, people have to start with the MVP. They got to know what it is that they really, really want, why they want it. Hey, if an iPhone's in there and that's part of their vision, and I want to be the guy with like the newest iPhone, cool. Like, chase that. But, for most people, I don't think that's it. Yeah. So
and let's circle back. So you talked about the MVP being the first step in dominating your goals. So then what would be the next piece to it?
So after you do that, it's really like, that's kind of like the blueprint, or I guess that's like what you want. And obviously now we need to put the how into it, right? Like, how do we stay fixed on that? So there's actually 2 other pieces to this, and the whole framework makes up the what I like to call the mentality trifecta. Mm-hmm. Before we even start to talk training or nutrition or the tactics and strategies, you got to have this dialed in, because if you don't, this right here is going to be your biggest worst enemy. This right here is going to be what causes you to fail. It's not going to be the workout. It's not going to be the diets, right? It's going to be you yourself. And so backing up even before the MVP, where a person has to start is with their truth. They got to own up with the truth. And this is where, I believe it happens in a 4-step phase. Like, you own up to the truth. You tell yourself the truth. It's like, I've been making excuses. I've been coming up with bullshit. I've been living in fear. I've been settling on average, mediocrity, right? You own up on that, and what you create is a breakdown. You got to break yourself down. You got to break down all these walls. You got to break down the ego, right? Through that breakdown, you create a breakthrough. It's like, boom, before a breakthrough can happen, you got to strip away all the shit. From there, belief has to happen. You get this breakthrough and you're like, you know what? I can achieve these goals, whatever these goals are, I can achieve them. You got to believe it. Only you can flip that switch inside of yourself. And if you're being honest with yourself and you're like, I'm just not ready yet, you need to get yourself ready at some point, right? Mm-hmm. So you have that breakthrough, you believe, next step is to become. You become the person that you want to be. You don't wait. It's not like, okay, I'm going to become this athlete. In 3 months, I'll be this athlete. No, you got to fucking be that athlete today. And you show up with habits, behaviors, actions every single day. They say act as if, right? Well, act as if you are already the person that you desire to be. You've already achieved the results that you've wanted to achieve. You just become, you just be, right? And so we got the truth, we got the MVP, and then the next piece, which I feel, I mentioned the brotherhood, right? Mm-hmm. So we operate through a set of standards. We got codes. You can see behind me on the wall, I came up with the Uncommon Man Code. And so this code, this credo, if you will, it blends in different specifics of, it makes the hard decisions easy decisions. So part of the code is like, I commit to being a man of action. I don't make excuses. If I know I want to achieve something, I got to attack. Action, 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 action. Nothing comes from inaction. Inaction is still an action. It's just not going to create anything, right? Mm-hmm. So being a man of integrity, just doing the right thing, being honest with everybody around you, but honest with yourself too. So if you said, this is going to be my year, 2021, I'm going to make a change. You're telling yourself this, and then you don't show up for your fucking workout on Monday because you're unmotivated. Guess what? You're not having integrity with yourself. You're breaking that rule. Mm-hmm. So it's like integrity, taking massive action. Another big one that I truly feel is important is obviously the discipline over motivation. Lead a life built, or I guess backed by discipline, not motivation. Like motivation is going to be great when we have it, but when we don't have it, guess what? You still show up and you do the work. Because that's what an uncommon man does. He's uncommon. He sets himself apart from everybody else. It's not that we're trying to be arrogant or we're trying to be that type of dude. It's just, I'm going to lead this type of life. If you want to come lead this life with me, come on over to this side where the uncommon men hang, right? So it's like those codes, you commit to the process, I guess progress over perfection is another big code that we live by. I mean, it's just, hey, you're going to have your ups and downs, dude. You're going to fuck it up, you're going to be lazy here and there, and you're going to miss a workout. It's not the end of the world. We're not going for perfection. It's just not going to happen. So you take those codes and you just really, you embed them into your lifestyle and you make them a part of your identity. And I feel that's really what starts to create change. Then we could start talking about the workouts and the nutrition and how we're going to apply this on a day-to-day basis, how we're going to design your life, coming up with a plan of attack, being organized. So when you wake up in the morning, you're focused, you're clear, you know exactly what it is that you need to do. And there is no hesitation. Yeah. You just do the freaking work. And then the results start to show. So
I wanted to ask you, because we're all human and we all have days where we just can't be bothered or we're just too tired. So what do you do when you hit a slump like that, Travis, to stay in integrity and in alignment with your goals, your mission, and your vision?
It's tough because I've been on such a streak where there are days, and I guess part of me, this is another thing I talk about, is just maintaining your frame. It's the force frame is what we call it. It all starts with your physical side. And so for me, again, being an athlete, just growing up around athletics and just physical fitness, when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling like shit, when I'm feeling unmotivated, I just train. I move my body. Mm-hmm. And I know from doing that, mentally, I'm going to come around. I'm going to get some sort of clarity, and I kick myself out of it. And that's why I just have such a connection to fitness. And that's really what I love about it. Like seeing the people in my gym, somebody that comes in and they can barely, lift the bar. And then, months later they're hitting PRs and they're all excited and they got this whole new swagger and confidence about them. It's like, yes, that's it. And so I believe, movement can help solve a lot of things. It's just like, if you stay still, like you're only going to let yourself sink deeper into the pit. So when I have those times, I just move and I just take fucking action. What can I do to move myself out of this pit or to prevent myself sinking down into this pit anymore? Right. Because I'm sure as well as I do, running a business, family, all these different things. uncontrollable shit flies in, usually at the perfect time, right? It's like, just when you thought everything was good, now I'm getting this. It's like, okay. Again, and as like I mentioned, we can look at those things and be like, poor me, why does this keep happening? Guess what? You're only going to continue to attract negative shit.
Right.
You know, instead, flip it around. How can I be positive in this situation? How can I make a comeback? And I guess another thing that I typically think about is like, I let those types of things keep my fire lit. Meaning, like, this is a challenge. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm gonna fucking crush it. Like, just try to build this wall up in front of me. I'm gonna run through it. Right. So like COVID just really got the mind going when like quarantine and all that stuff was going. I was like, how can I fucking smash through this? Everybody else, you know, everybody else is just like, we can't do this, we can't do that. You know, negativity, it's like rise above that. So you just got to keep moving. You just got to keep moving forward. And yeah, things are going to happen. Like I mentioned, you know, progress over perfection. Just keep moving, keep taking the steps forward is really the only thing you can do.
It is. And you know, it's asking yourself the hard questions, like really holding a mirror up to yourself and saying like, who am I and how important is this for me? And what does it add to my life? And then when being stuck is making it like identifying that I'm making a choice to just be lazy and say, I'm not going to do anything. That's the action I'm choosing. Yep. And accepting that with that non-action comes no change.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you've got like a client of yours or somebody from your community that's stuck, that, you know, that's still searching for that motivation? How do you help them flip that switch if they're going through a hard time, a challenge, or in that moment of like, I can't do it anymore?
Just embracing the humility is really what you need to do. And so again, that's why the brotherhood's so powerful. One of the things that we do in there is we do the weekly own up. It's a weekly check-in that everybody needs to do. And it's just, that's when you show up and you be your real raw self. And if you had a shitty week, guess what? You own up about it. You say, hey guys, I messed up this week. Took the lazy route out, just felt like shit. Here I am. I'm owning up to it. I'm going to have a better week coming up. Right. And so instead of sweeping that under the rug and just like turning away from it and trying to ignore it, we just bring it straight up. Hey, here's the culprit right here. Right. So that's one way. And then I oftentimes talk about, and this is a struggle for everybody, even if you're a part of a group, it's just, I say humility because that's like one of the innate, you know, human fears is just fear of embarrassment, fear of being rejected, that type of stuff. And so these stories just come up inside of our mind. It's like, man, I don't want to share that with anybody. I'm just going to keep it to myself. And what starts to happen when you hold that in, guess what? It becomes a weight. It's a heavy weight. It starts to pull you down. We call it, you start slowly drifting off the path, right? So might just be you miss a couple workouts. Okay, big deal. I'll be back on it. No, you don't talk about it. So now the nutrition is starting to slip. Now another week, bad workouts, and you just keep it to yourself. And before you know it, guy's completely gone. Yeah. Like he's drifted back into his old ways. And it's just a lot of just mindset, just not opening up and not sharing. And that's, as humans, we all need to connect. We all need to connect in pain. We grow in pain together. Oh, you're dealing with the same thing I am? Great. Let's do this together. I got your back.
I find that with this, like when, you know, talking about connection, I find that with like, this has been my experience at least. And I'm sure you've experienced this with your online communities, is connection is so much stronger. Funnily enough, like in the gym, like you said, people show up, do a workout, you know, make some friends, maybe hang out, and then everybody gets back into their life. But being online, I find that there's a lot more connectedness with people in, you know, within communities where, you know, even though we're not seeing each other, or we're seeing each other on a screen and stuff, but just having that community or at a community platform where people are chatting to each other, somebody misses a workout, they're checking in. You know, I find it so powerful to help people stay on track, because people need to connect with one another.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's posed kind of a challenge, you know, just in the gym. We can't have, you know, big gym get-togethers and things like that. Like, I mean, the community in the gym, it was popping, like, and that was the great thing about it, is we'd have, you know, community workouts, you know, throughout the year, all the time. People are coming, showing up. We're having barbecues, all that type of stuff. And it's just it's dwindled out. You know, COVID has, you know, taken a lot of that away. It is what it is. But yeah, you can certainly still connect very, very well. I think that's one of the positives that we've pulled out of COVID. I mean, some people can look at it as a negative, but if there's real connection, real legit connection that's being created and being improved through online, I think that's one of the positives that, COVID kind of created. And I think, from like a business side of things, businesses are starting to understand that, hey, maybe people don't need to be coming into work as much. They're actually more productive at home, so people that have like office jobs and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of people in my neighborhood, a lot of our neighbors, they don't go into the office that much anymore. They work from home and they're even more productive now. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Travis, this has been an incredible conversation. Like I can't wait to go back and replay this and listen to it. So before we sign off, is there anything that you want to, tips, tactics that you'd like to share with my listeners? Have you got anything that's coming up, and how can people get in touch with you if they want to join any of your programs, your online community, and so on?
Yeah. First off, biggest tip, I guess, would be, what I shared. One of the most powerful things that I shared was just the MVP, and just starting with the simplest thing of just getting clear on what it is you want. Most people don't know what they want, so you don't even know where you need to go, right? So I just start with that. Just get very, very clear on what it is that you want, why you want it. Then you can reverse engineer everything after that. Start taking the steps to get there. But yeah, aside from that, you can find me on Facebook. I got a Facebook community. That's a free community for, dads that are looking just to have a little bit more connection with them. And then from there, obviously we had the paid, VIP Forge Father Project community, which, I'm always bringing on new members into that. But before anything else, I have guys go through, different resources. So if you want to find out more information about that, just go to theforgefather.com, and there's a actual training that I've put together that covers a lot of what we talked about, but then I dig into like nutrition and training and how we approach it a little bit differently, and really how we put the whole system together to, again, make it work for busy dads, because that's another, I guess, void in the marketplace that I see oftentimes. Is like, you can go to Instagram and you see all these dudes that are ripped and shredded to the bone, and they got their 21-day shred program, but then it has guys work out for 90 minutes and then they got to do, 45 minutes of cardio on top of that. I don't know many dads that have the time to do that, nor want to put in that much time to do that. And you don't have to do that to look good, feel good, just run a dad bod, right? So got a lot of resources, and they're all directly dialed in to help the dad, but not just the dad, the freaking dad that's driven and determined to change, from where he's at right now, done being complacent, ready to take things to the next level. So
awesome. Travis, thank you so much for the time that you've given me tonight and our listeners. This has been incredible. Awesome to have a conversation with you for the first time, even though I've been following you for years. This has been incredible. And all the best with your fourth daughter that's on the way. Congratulations for that. You really are a busy dad.
Yeah.
And that's just inspiring to see, you juggling all of these things, but still showing up as a father, still showing up as a husband, and, being able to balance all of that. So thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. And once again, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good day, Travis.